Hi, everyone. My name is Anne Desjardins. I'm your host here for the Silver Lyming podcast, something that I've put together to bring to you stories of others getting better in the space of Lyme and tick-borne illness, because as we know who have gone through it, it is something that can be very dark and lonely and very depressing, if you will, when you're sick constantly over and over every day of your life and you really just don't feel better. And it can be easy to believe maybe that you won't heal, but I'm here again to show you that you definitely can heal. I am proof myself, and the guests that I have on my show are also proof of that. And today I'm bringing forth another wonderful guest, Jennifer Brower. She has authored the book, The Silent Killer, and I am excited because her story is maybe a little bit different, a standard deviation of a tick bite, how she contracted her Lyme, but I'll let her speak to that. And then also, like some of my past guests, she has some other factors that contributed to her sickness. And I'm excited again for her to be able to share that, to give you another rendition of what this could possibly look like, how this could affect you, and how it could be contributing to keeping you sick and not allowing you to get well. So without further ado, Jennifer, if you don't mind, please, if you could share with us a little bit more about yourself. Welcome to my show. Tell us a little bit more how you became infected. That would be wonderful.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And this is the picture of my book, Silent Killers. It says a journey through the complex disorders of Lyme disease, mold toxicity, mercury poisoning, and coronavirus. You can get it from my website, jennifercbrower.com, or Amazon. And basically what it is it truly is the journey that I went through, trying to heal from Lyme, not knowing what I have. I live in Florida, so nobody wanted to say, I got told over and over and over, you live in Florida, there's no way you have Lyme disease. And it was crazy because I actually got it in Southwest Florida, like Southwest Florida, Naples, being there on my 10th wedding anniversary. And at the time I was, running half marathons, playing tennis, doing great. And I got bit by a tick in the middle of the night on my hand. And
oh, wait, 1 second. I'm sorry. A tick or a spider?
Excuse me. Sorry, spider. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Bitten by a spider in the middle of the night on my hand. Didn't know what it was. I was sleeping, and I just slapped it. And that was it. Kind of slept the rest of the night. And the next morning, I woke up and I literally could not get out of the bed, and everything hurt. And I reached over to my husband and I said, wake up. I need help. I can't move. Something's really wrong, really, really wrong. And so I'm not home. I know nobody down there. We're away. I've got 3, kids and a business and a husband. And all of a sudden, my life just stopped as I knew it for 3 days, right? Just 3 days at first stopped. And then I went into a situation where I came back home to Northeast Florida, and I kept thinking, okay, I'm gonna have to figure out what's going on because slowly my immune system started coming back, right? And I came home and I got I knew about vitamin IVs. I didn't know a whole bunch about anything, honestly, because it was healthy. But I knew about vitamin IVs. And so I thought, I think I'll go just get some of those, like vitamin C, B complex, glutathione. I was already somewhat knowledgeable about that stuff. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll just get some IVs. And I did. And I got better, and my life continued. And then literally about 9 years later, I had some serious trauma hit. My mom died. And the same day that my mom passed away, I got a call while my mom was literally still laying in her bed. I got a call saying that I had a bad mammogram and I had to have a lumpectomy. And I jokingly said to the priest who was standing there with me, I said, okay, we need to do a little hands-on healing here. I just got the mat. And so, anyway, he prayed, but not hands-on. And I had to have a lumpectomy between the day my mom died and before her funeral. So I had a little bit of stress going on, and then like I said, I was still with that stress kind of brought it some more symptoms and brain like this. I started having panic attacks and my brain felt like it was on fire, like my finger kind of was in a light socket. And everybody I went to, all the well-known hospitals. I mean, I'm 3 minutes from Mayo Clinic, and they totally misdiagnosed me for 6 years. And that was more than frustrating. They kept trying to give me psych drugs, right? And they're supposed to be well known. Well, then my mother-in-law came down with, she had stage 4 lung cancer, and she was flying out to a place in Arizona and to get treatment that was, very food oriented, nutrition oriented, plus all the other modalities of detoxing at the same time. And so I actually went out there to stay with her for a month to give my father-in-law a break. And I said, well, if you're doing green juice, I can't just eat in front of you. So I'm going to do the green juice. And so we had to drink a quart of green juice every day for a month. And they started giving me IVs out there, and I started to feel like I was starting to feel, better. And I found that magnesium in the IV was amazingly helpful for the pain. Like all the pain stopped and calmed down and went away. So, I'm on this huge learning curve because I don't know anything about Lyme, and I don't know anything else that, it just wasn't a well-known topic back then at all. So I stay out there, and I come home after a month, and after a couple of days, I start not feeling well, and I'm like, what is going on? Why can't I hold this feeling? And I flew back out there again, and I was like, I whatever y'all did made me feel better, but I went home and I couldn't hold the healing, like what. And then my daughter said, hey, Mom, can I play dress up? And I was like, sure. It's like my clothes that are in the closet. And my daughter went and opened the closet, and she moved all my dresses back, and there was black mold all in the closet. And I had been sleeping in that bedroom because one of the issues I had with Lyme was unable to sleep because my central nervous system was doing this all the time. And so I didn't want to keep my husband awake. So I would go and sleep in that bedroom, and I had no idea. So long story short on that one was we ended up having to literally bulldoze a little over a quarter of our house because of the mold in it, and rebuild it. My kids all had symptoms of mold toxicity, but I didn't see it, right? We blamed it on allergies. We blamed it on what we had, every excuse, because you don't know what it is. So you think it's the pollen, it's this, it's that. My middle son had 3 sinus surgeries before the age of 6.
Wow.
Because he kept having nosebleeds or his eyes would swell shut. And, my oldest son had other symptoms. My daughter had some symptoms. It was just kind of one of those things that we were all being infected by the mold, but we didn't know it was there. So that's a hot topic in my book, actually, is just because there's a lot of symptomology that goes with Lyme and mold.
Yes.
Sadly. Actually, I was doing extremely well again. I, got back up into being able to run and everything when I got hit by COVID. And the first round of COVID brought back some of my symptoms. And I was like, oh, no, this can't be happening. And, I immediately started doing the stuff I needed to do. I knew to start juicing. I knew to make sure I was, just doing IVs, doing sweating. I got infrared sauna, and I had one. So I knew, okay, I have these modalities. I know I need to ground myself. I know I need to sweat. I know I need to be in the sunshine. I need to juice. I need to have good nutrition. I need to find joy in every day. I had to laugh about something every day, find joy in whatever it is, a movie, TV, whatever brings you joy, do that. And
Yes.
grounding every day.
Yes.
So it was a situation that, you can get Lyme to go away. And I had it so far gone, literally, it was not in my DNA. It was not, they were smashing my cells underneath a microscope. There was nothing coming out, right? And so I'm like, oh my God, hallelujah, I am healed. I am healed. And then you kind of slack off, right? Because you're feeling pretty good. You're going, yeah, this is great. And, you slack off a little bit. And I'm not saying you have to live a total rigid lifestyle once you become well, but I'm saying it's pretty smart to stick close to it, right? Like eat nutritional things. Eat a lot of sprouts. They have nitric oxide in them. That's oxygen that goes straight into your cells. And it's good for your digestion. But when I really started seeing a difference is when I started juicing celery juice, because the cluster salts in the celery juice kills Epstein-Barr, which is a virus. And most everybody who has cancer, Lyme, mold, anything, they most likely have Epstein-Barr. That's the most common, the kissing disease brings mono. Well, so every day that's the first thing I do. I wake up in the morning and I drink hot, pretty warm lemon water to just kind of flush. Then I do my celery juice, and then I wait for a little bit, and then I do 2 ounces of wheatgrass and just shoot it back, And it's amazing just by, cleaning up your diet and doing a couple of simple things like that, how your body starts changing and it starts going, oh, look, okay, naturally we can get rid of this virus of Epstein-Barr. And that wheatgrass is amazing. It tonifies your blood, gives you energy. It's an amazing thing to juice and consume. So that's what, that's kind of how I go back to the basics when I really make sure I need to clean myself up. But, I owned a business at the time, and it was the year that Jacksonville had hosted the Super Bowl. And I got that contract because I had a sports marketing company at that time. And I got that contract with ESPN to come to the Super Bowl here in Jacksonville. And that was so super cool, right? And I'm dealing with ESPN.com, ESPN the magazine, ESPN TV productions, blah, blah, blah. And we announced ESPNU and Alicia Keys. And I am working like a dog. I'm working around the clock. I'm like, okay, I got this. But all of a sudden, and I'm having all these meetings and whatnot, and I started having these panic attacks. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. What's this? And I've never had that, like where you pull the car over and think, okay, I'm going to get out of my car and I would literally be on the side of the interstate, and I would pull my car off the street and go and just get my feet in the dirt, right? Or in the grass, and just try to ground myself. Because I had weird things, like all of a sudden my fingertips went numb, right? And just the oddest things started happening. But that was a super cool event. And so I think the high of achieving that event and dealing with all these super cool people that were flying in from all over the country. And we introduced Alicia Keys to the world. And we also introduced ESPNU. So, my life had all of these amazing, great things going on, right? So I'm kind of living in this high, but I got this other thing over here that's like kind of tugging me down. And I'm like, okay, got to figure it all out. But yeah, it flattened me. And when the mold and the Lyme, they kind of hold hands. People don't get that. It's like your body can fight off one thing, like obviously it fought off Lyme for so long, but it was the mold exposure that my body started crashing. And I was like, okay, I know I'm jumping around, but it's just collectively, it is, they're complex disorders, and you don't see them unless you see the bullseye, which I never had. You don't, sometimes you can smell mold, but oftentimes people don't know. And then, you get hit by corona and the COVID virus, and, sadly, I know a number of people who have had cancer reactivated, a number of different things, whether they got the vaccine or not, just by having the spike protein. They're suffering from something. So I think that's why the book actually kind of went big fast, was because we're living in an age that people need hope. They need, like, people were searching, right? Everybody's searching for an answer, right? Because so many people just don't feel good, or they feel weird, and they're going, what is it? And, I talk a lot in my book about electrosensitivity because we're all exposed to it. And as I was talking to you before we started this, I said, I literally ran into my office, opened my laptop to tune in, and as soon as I'm done here, I am closing down and running out and going to go ground myself. And that can be anything as easy as an Epsom salt bath, or putting your feet in the dirt and exposing yourself to fresh air. People like you had shared about, trying to live in an apartment in Miami. Like, how do you stop getting bombarded? There's all sorts of things out there that we can get to protect ourselves, but it is scientifically proven that EMF fields, so your Wi-Fi modem and that kind of stuff, that will expedite the growth of mold. As it's declining your immune system, fungus, anything like that that you're exposed to or that's in your environment is ramped up.
That doesn't necessarily surprise me, but that's not very encouraging.
Well, no, but here's the gig. You can unplug your modem, right? You can turn it on when you just need that. Most of our phones, it might cost you a little bit more, but you can use it without Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah.
People buy these smart TVs. Like, my husband, before we go anywhere, he's like, is it a smart house? Because if it's something we're going to rent, I'm not going. I can't stay there. So we don't do that, right? We make sure that there's plenty of fresh air, sunshine, grounding capabilities. And I'll tell you this, one of the things that I used to do when I was working and trying to maintain a balance between work and being well, was I would leave the office with, like, would feel like I would get rattled from the Wi-Fi. I would leave my office, because I've never had Wi-Fi in my home ever. And I figured out with a doctor that used to be a Navy pilot that if you change the barometric pressure on your brain, then it calms your central nervous system down. So I ended up getting a scuba tank, literally, and it's got 49% nitrogen and 51% oxygen. And I could put that thing on and go run around the bottom of my pool 10 minutes and put my clothes back on and come back and work for a little while. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just putting in that fresh oxygenating your blood and grounding yourself another big tool to all of this is making sure that you're taking magnesium, because Lyme disease and mold will completely take your magnesium and strip it out of your body, because it eats it up. So I encourage you to take magnesium glycinate, because that does not cause diarrhea, whereas other magnesiums do. It's a muscle, and it's great for your muscles, for relaxation. It's great for your brain. It's great for your bones. So that would be another tidbit that I'd give anybody who's dealing with any of these toxicities.
Yeah. And so you brought up a lot of really good points in just thinking about, like, going back to the Epstein-Barr virus for one. Like, I think about that a lot, and the research that I've done shows that often is the underlying cause for many of the problems that people have, like cancer, like Lyme, yes, these other things. And so I often wonder if it's actually Epstein-Barr that's causing symptoms for people, or if it's these other things. Like, if they didn't have the Epstein-Barr in an elevated respect, would they have the symptoms from, say, the Lyme or whatever else?
I would say that, Epstein-Barr makes, from what I've experienced and what people I've talked to, Epstein-Barr makes you want to sleep all the time, right? And I think that Lyme disease and mold toxicity make your body be more agitated, right? So you don't sleep and you feel wound up, and it's an uncomfortable feeling. So that's just my own, I'm not a doctor. That's just my own experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And then mold exposure, again, is something else that's come up quite a few times with some of my past guests, and just how much problem that can actually present to people. Can you help to explain why that is? Like, what is it about mold that is problematic for people? Is it like an immunosuppressant? Is it like what?
It's a fungus. It's like having too much yeast in your body, right? Yeast is a fungus. Mold is a fungus. It's, people call it candida. You can give it any title you want. But the bottom line is, if you look at a blood cell and it's ratcheted, meaning that it's not purely, no blood cells are purely round. But if it's got ratcheting, these little spikes on it, then that typically means that you've got mold or a fungus of some sort going on in there. That's on a live blood analysis. I love getting my live blood analysis going on, because I don't need any other tests. Give me a live blood analysis and I can see what's going on. I don't need a urine test to see if my mycotoxins are high. I can see if I have a red blood cell that's completely clear in the middle. That means it's Bartonella. There's all these different things that you can look at if somebody had access. A lot of health food stores do live blood analysis, and it's those people that do that are really smart, and they can identify. They can say, "Oh, that's a fungus," or "Oh, that's not supposed to look like that," and it kind of helps you identify really what's going on internally.
Yeah, that's good to know too. I actually know someone who does live blood analysis, and I've never tried. So maybe that's something, just for the curiosity's sake, that I might.
So, for example, in my book, I talk about my personal experience, but then I go into science a lot, and I show PET scans, and I show urinalysis, and I show parasites and what's come out, and I show all these things. In the back of each chapter is a scan me code. So you can take your phone and scan that little tool, and it'll take you to my resource page on my website, and it'll give you the science, and then it'll show you the color pictures. Okay. Because we were getting ready to go to print, and all of a sudden we found out I've got 6 pictures in there that really needed to be color. And they're like, well, if you want those to be color, the whole book has to be color. And I was like, well, then people aren't going to be able to afford to buy it. Right. So anyway, a very smart person who was in my life said, "Oh, we're going to put scamming codes so people can like literally go on your website and check it out and see what really, dive deeper into it."
Perfect. That's a good solution. I'm in the printing industry, so we use things like that for different purposes, but that's awesome. And then can you tell me, so you seem very well versed in terms of like self-help or medical care that's required. Are you consulting now for people, or like how is it that you know all of this?
Well, I know all this because I lived it, right? Yeah. And then I'm sure, as you know, and most of your viewers know, you end up kind of delving into places that you never thought you would ever go before, right? Because all of a sudden you're like, ugh. Yes, I do consulting. You can go to my website. It's just jennifercbrower.com. And yes, and get, contact us and get on the book so I can talk to you. I really do a lot of advocating for people who have EMF sensitivities, because people don't get that because it's also invisible. But we have a super cool thing going on. So we have a little community too. It's called the Silent Killers Project. And at the end of April, we're doing a gut reset. We're doing a gut reset the last week of April. And it is I've got amazing guests that are coming on that are going to help. They're going to speak to why gut brain is connected, and why if you have a clean gut gives you a clear brain. So, I definitely go into the whole aspect of, I always try to bring people on that can give, more information than I have. They're smarter than I am, and they're their specialties. So if you want to, you can go to thesilentKillersBook.com and look at different resources. But we've got this gut cleanse reset that's coming up in the last week of April. And we really want to help people start feeling better and give them these nutritional tips, right?
Okay. Yes.
Exercise, wheatgrass, juicing, just all the different components that you can do. And you can't do all of them, right? At least I was completely fanatical because I was so sick. I was grasping at any straws to get people to help me. And so that's why we're doing this. We're going to help you try to clean out your gut, because I have another doctor that's going to come on and talk about, why your gut directly affects your brain. So, we were joking about wheatgrass earlier. So I do a 2-ounce shot of wheatgrass, and man, my brain goes, "Oh, hello." And I have to be careful not to do that after 4:00. And
Stimulates you.
Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. So, if I start getting kind of run down in the afternoon, I'll do 2 ounces of wheatgrass. But I will warn you, don't do it too late, because it will keep you awake.
Yeah, stimulating.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you make it, do you juice your own? How do you do this?
Yep, I juice. I use a slow macerating juicer, okay. And it is. The slow macerating, it protects the enzymes. Okay. So if you're juicing celery, or you're juicing wheatgrass, or you're juicing whatever you're juicing, the key is to drink the juice within 15 minutes of juicing it, because the enzymes are alive, the oxygen's moving, it's living, it's a live food at that point in time. If you work or can't juice later in the day, but you need to, then I would say juice whatever you're going to juice, and put it in some kind of a mason jar, fill it to the very top where there's very little oxygen in it, and screw the top on really tight, keep it in the refrigerator, because, It's not like you lug a juice around with you everywhere you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Because
And
I'm just curious. Like I juice celery like you do, and I drink that every day. Same reason I come across the medical medium and just
yeah.
the thought of doing that. And I've actually experimented. I stopped drinking it for a couple months, and actually I've decided my body really genuinely feels better with it.
Mm-hmm.
And just small things like my own body odor, I can smell a difference in it, and I'm sure it's from the chlorophyll that's in that. And so I know that gives a lot of power just against that alone, body odors and stuff like that. But there's so much power in doing that kind of thing. And it's also a more Stottbeck practice, right? Like you're putting alive things into your body to give you life. That's really
For
what
sure.
it comes down to in the end. It's like you're not putting processed garbage in your body. Your body's rejuvenating because you're actually giving it something to rejuvenate with, you know?
Right. And and by, everything isn't fixed by the doctors, right? If there's not like a miracle pill. It is, taking all the different components and putting it in together. And if you get severe headaches, for example, if you get severe headaches, I would encourage you, even if it's in a bathtub, or if you have access to a pool or the ocean or a lake, whatever, water, submerging your head and changing the barometric pressure is a game changer. It truly is a game changer. Hope you like to get your hair wet, because that's the difference. You can't just get it in here. And I do that. I do it a lot. And I can go from feeling very unwell to feeling like, a cleansing moment where everything just calms down. And, exercise is a key to all of this healing too. People think, oh, I'm too sick to exercise. I'm too sick to do that. Just getting out and walking around the block, getting some fresh air and sunshine. And another thing is that I would totally recommend, because I don't keep my cell phone on me all day, every day. I do try to detach from it, but you can, play music, because when music is playing, your head is thinking of the words of the music, and you're more likely to hum, which is really great for vibrational healing. Humming and singing is so good for you, because if you're doing that, you can't think of something else, right? So the negative thoughts kind of get pushed out if you start ruminating on something, because you're like humming and singing something that you enjoy.
Yes.
Right. And so that's a big key. Key. Not thinking, oh my God, I'm going down, and there's no hope for me. You got to get out of that headspace.
Yes.
And whatever that takes. What is it? Is it interacting with the neighbors? Sometimes what I used to do too is, on a day that I was having a really tough day, I would write a note to one of my neighbors that would make me go outside, walk down the street, and slide it in their mailbox even. You know what I mean? Just to say, whether it's a thank you or a pick me up or a whatever. I was thinking about you today. Just reach out and share love, because that's what it takes. It takes a loving community, to pick you up and give you all of these feelings, those happy endorphins, right? You need the happy endorphins to come back to tell your body, hey, this is what it feels like to be happy and well. And it's possible for all of us, right? You just have to do it. You have to train yourself that if you're having a down day, it's amazing what can happen when you go to try to share joy with somebody else. A thank you, a simple thank you can do it. Right?
Yes, very much so. It's those little acts that we can do that shift the momentum to help us to collect ourselves to keep pushing forward. And that's like, even just as a healthy person now, some days I'm like, meh. And it's like, how do I motivate myself? How do I do it? And honestly, that practice of sitting down and writing thank you notes to people or something along those lines can make me feel so good just doing that. Or like, if I go on social media and wish a bunch of people happy birthday, I'm like, oh, it's like so fun and it brings me such joy. And then
that's it, gratitude.
Yeah, people will come back to me a couple days later, like, I forgot even that I wrote the note, and couple days later, someone's like, "You're amazing. You wrote me this nice note." And that's like another double lift to my soul. It's like, oh yeah.
It's so amazing. It's so amazing when I've had recently had an experience where someone came up to me and didn't know me and just identified me from the picture on the back of the book and said, "Are you Jennifer Brower?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "You saved my life." And I was like, "What?" And she was crying. I was crying. And I said, "You know what? I didn't save your life. You took the steps that you needed to take. You're saving your life. It's your action, right? It's your action. You just needed a tidbit of knowledge to try to figure out what was going on with you." That's why I think the book's popular. I think it's, like I said, people are just looking for hope. They're looking for answers. They're trying to identify what they're feeling with maybe what's going on, and it's the possibilities are endless, but if through prayer and observation, and you can start seeing answers.
Yes. Yes. And that's what I think about a lot, is that hope gives others the courage to heal. And that is why I wanted to do this, is like, if you can just show hope that you can get better, that's all people need sometimes, to have enough strength or like conviction themselves that they can do it. But they're the ones doing the work. I've thought about this many times. When people tell me something similar, I'm like, no. You did the work. I just showed you that it was possible, right? Like you're the one who had to go through it. And we know, going through it ourselves, how grueling it is every day to get up and meet yourself in that space, and to continue to push forward and to say, I can do this. I know I can do this. And put the blinders on and not look at others that are like not getting better, and just focus on self and know that your outcome is going to be that you get better.
Yeah. One of the lines in my book is, "Courage is fear walking."
Mm. Yes.
Because you don't know what's going on, and fear takes over, and you start ruminating. And so that's what I'm saying, is keep taking steps forward, and whatever it is that brings you joy.
Yes.
Do a little bit of that every day, and then start doing it multiple times a day, because all those moments of joy literally send happy vibrational signals to your body, and it starts healing. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, like all of a sudden you're going to have energy that you didn't have, or wow, I used to not be able to write, my right foot used to hurt when I walked, or you just start noticing all of these different small improvements, until all of a sudden your body's just whole and healthy again. Your body is an amazing thing. It knows what to do. We just got to give it the right nutrients and fill it with the right vibrational energy so it can heal. We can heal. Right. And, I was that person. Oh, once I go see that doctor, then I'm going to heal. Once I go see that person, then I'm going to heal. Right. Well, it's not all those people. Yeah, sure. They help you along your journey, but it's your journey, and it's your outcome, and it's your outlook on your journey. And so keep that outlook, somehow, some way, incorporate some sunshine in there, or think of your favorite place to be. I just encourage that often. Try and meditate and think of your favorite place to be, and think of what it feels like to be there, and give your body that energy of what that feeling's like.
Yes. That's such good advice, honestly. And I talk to people, like I was literally just talking to someone yesterday, and he's like, I love how it's the little things that energize you. And I just kind of chuckled, because it's those little things that give us bursts of like good, positive energy for that moment that help to attract more of that energy into us. And so it's the excitement of truly just like the little things, a beautiful sunrise or finding a 4-leaf clover, whatever it is that I get jazzed about. And it's like, whoa. But again, it's just heightening my receptors to receive more of that kind of energy coming in.
Well, if you can really exude gratitude, then you're going to get all the happy stuff back, because that's what you're giving out. But if you're complaining and you put out negative, you're going to get negative back. But if you can spin your story, right? Whatever your story is, if you can spin it and go, yeah, that was crazy. What I was going through was crazy. Not poor, pitiful me. Look what happened to me, right? But man, that was a bad ride. I'm glad I'm off that train. It's
Yes.
literally step out of yourself, right? And because it's when you don't feel good, it's hard to do that. And granted, it's super hard to do that, but it is like I said. I've just heard of miraculous healing from people who looked at the bright side of anything. If it's negative, whatever, you find the spin of whatever, what made it funny. Okay, here's an example. Okay. I would go and get treatments for Lyme, and I'd be so out of it that I'd have to drive from the clinic back to the hotel where I was staying. And I'm embarrassed to tell you, but I will tell you how many times the thing was still in my tank as I drove away. So I learned real fast why those two metal things are up on the hose. I was that person. I would be like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I can't believe I did that. But then next day I'd go into the clinic and I'd share with people, yeah, well, I drove away with the hose yesterday. Somewhere, somehow it's going to be on a video. I know. So, that's what I'm saying. It's like, just turn those things, whatever happened that would have been negative, into a positive, and, laugh at yourself. It's okay.
Yes, you have to. You absolutely have to. And I just think so much about some of my spiritual studies that I've done. And, it's really not about the things that happen to us. It's more so important about how we react to the things that happen to us. And it's a very good example of this with healing, right? It is like, it really stings. It sucks. I wouldn't choose this. I wouldn't wish it on my own worst enemy. However, I'm grateful that it happened in the space and the capacity that I'm at now, because it's made me such a better person and a more understanding human, and just a stronger person and more aware of myself. And I've gained so many things out of it that I'm much more comfortable with that thought, right? Like I try not to look at the fact that, oh, I lost a decade of my life, or, oh, I don't have kids. Woe is me, because I sort of missed that chance. And there's lots of things that I could probably sit here and cry about or be angry about, but that's not going to serve me well. I can't go backwards. I can't change things. I can only go forward. And to hold that energy is only going to hold you down. It's not going to allow you to elevate yourself up to actually get better. So it's incredibly important, the head game that we play with ourselves, and just
so true.
Our emotional capacity.
And, people that suffer from mold, I'm not going to start because I have so many endless stories from that. And the people who suffer from Lyme, and the divorce rate that's connected to it.
Yeah.
That's where you can say to your partner of some sort, what, I'm having a really cruddy day, but thanks for sticking with me, because it's going to get better. This is not how it's always going to be. We're just trying to find the answers. And then my word of advice to those spouses or partners or whatever, the support, love on the person that is not feeling well, because physical touch is so healing. Hugs, love, hold their hand. If you don't know them well, pat them on the back. But physical touch is so important. I can't stress that enough. It's that connectivity.
Yes. And again, if we were meant to be the only people on earth and not have that interaction, we would be the only people here on earth. But God made lots of us for a reason, and human touch is one of those things that can be just really letting the person know that you're there and feeling support. And yeah.
And that's why COVID was so devastating, because we were all isolated.
Yeah.
And that's why there's so many more people that died during that time. They were isolated. And so if my other words of encouragement would be, I didn't join a support group when I was going through it, because I didn't want to hear other people's problems. I wanted to deal with like don't rain on what I've got going on, because if I'm having a happy moment or a clear thought or a clear moment, then I didn't use a support group, because I didn't want somebody else to take me down. But I will tell you, there are great support groups out there, and all sorts of different types of support groups out there. If someone's looking for it, they can find it.
Yes. Thank you. And then I think as a final question that I like to ask, if you don't mind, could you tell me what is maybe the best thing that's happened to you as a result of getting Lyme and tick-borne illness or spider-borne illness in your case?
Well, it took me 3 years to write my book, right? And my husband kind of doubted it the whole time. He was like, yeah, sure, you're write a book and release it. But people were calling me for advice and how did you get over it? Or we heard you got over it, or how did you get through it, or all that. And that's why I wrote the book. So I would tell you that maybe the most positive thing for me that has come out of the experience is writing this book. And I do include humor. I do include science. I do include practical practices, just to give people hope. Like, listen, I had mold, Lyme, mercury, all at the same time. So I know what it's like to be down, completely down, and then I got corona once, and then I got corona again. And I chose not to get vaccinated, but that was my choice. Yep. But, when I was doing the research on the vaccines, I couldn't find enough things that said why I should. And, my immune system was already compromised, so I chose not to. I'm still happy that I made that choice, but, not everybody thinks like that. And not other people have the same systems systematically. So
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And then I can speak that it just cost me X amount of dollars to fix myself. And I'm not really sure what that would do to all of that work that I've done. And that was a very uncomfortable thought for me too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. So, how would I go about, so you said I can go to your website to sign up for your gut healing?
Yes.
Of April.
Mm-hmm. You can go to Jennifer C. Brower. And then we also have a website for silent killers.
Okay.
That is 2 ways to get through to us and to get connected with us all the way around. And we would, if we can help you in any way, we'll do it for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that openness, because a lot of times I feel like people listen to this and they're like, maybe it would be really nice to talk to that person. And so I like for you to say, yeah, I'm open to you contacting me or no. And I mean, in your case, obviously you're a little bit more public facing that I would, looking at your website and stuff. I know that you're okay with people contacting you, but just to be clear about that, and that people could work with you if they wanted to, if they're resonating with you, or they've just got questions that they think you might hold the answer to point them in a little bit of a different direction. Again, it's really good to know, because you really ran the gamut with exposure to things, not just Lyme, but, mold, coronavirus, mercury, heavy metals, things like that I don't think necessarily even cross people's thoughts when they're thinking about trying to figure out what's going on in their body. Like, they're not even aware that these other components could be hindering their ability to heal. Because again, what I've learned about mold is it is an immunosuppressant. And so your immune system is already rendered pretty much DOA with something like Lyme, and then you throw mold on top of it. And of course, you're not going to be able to function. Like, you're never going to get better, because that's just continuously putting you back down to the bottom of where the barrel is. And that's the last place you need to go. So
exactly. And, create your own mantra, right? My mantra was, for many years, I am a healthy, happy, vibrant person. I am a healthy, happy, vibrant woman. I'm a healthy, happy, I would say that over and over and over. So I'm speaking positive, affirmations to myself, because that can pull you out pretty quick, and sharing that with others, saying, wow, you're looking really great. You're doing really good. You look really strong. Just those kind of things. It's all in that whole gratitude, positive energy thing.
Yes. And I often will tell people, it's like, would you say that to a friend? They're like, no. I'm like, well, why would you say that to yourself? Because you're your own best friend. You've got to protect your own self. And if you're calling yourself stupid or saying you're sick or whatever it is all the time, like you're just hurting yourself over and over again. And again, if I was friends with someone that talked to me like that, I wouldn't be friends with them for much longer because I wouldn't want to hear that stuff all the time. So we really have to be monitoring that internal talk,
For sure. And I'm super blessed to have like this amazing team behind me now. So I'm not controlling everything. They actually control everything and tell me where to go and what to do, which is super helpful because it makes the communication work better. It makes us more accessible. And it really helps other people get involved in something that's happy, something that's good, something that will make you smarter, see what works for your body, what resonates with you.
Yes. And that's nice to have that guidance when you're really overwhelmed, especially if it's newer diagnosis and you're like, what do I do now? Or I'm not really sure. Like, it's nice to have somebody who's been through it to show you the ropes and guide you and give you a little bit more confidence again, that you can do it for yourself. So I really appreciate what you stand for and what you bring to the table and the offerings that you provide to our community. And again, I think it's just I shouldn't say nice, like it's a useful story at showing people It is nice in a sense, but it's like we're talking about somebody who got sick and, a lot of things happened that probably weren't that pleasant.
I was going down fast. I was on the skids. So it was, it was a tough road, but you know what? I just stuck with it and I had to go outside the box and I had to search outside of just Western medicine. I had to be open to changing my lifestyle. I had to think in so many different ways. And that's why I wrote the book. To help other people look outside the box and transform their own lives.
Yes.
Yeah, you're a lot better off if you can help your gut heal and give it good nutrition and do the best that you can. At least start there. I was on a podcast recently and I was talking to a Lyme mold cancer specialist, and I said, if people come to you and their gut's already doing okay, don't you have your success rate is so much faster and helping the person heal because you're not going backwards going, well, we got to heal all this first, right? We can start out, you're like got it all cleaned up yourself.
Yeah.
So make good food choices to then get on the right road to healing.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this tremendously. And it's been nice talking with you and just, again, meeting another person who's figured out a way out of the darkness and back into functioning like a normal human, leaving zombie land and returning to being a contributing member to society in very many beneficial ways that will help people change their life and to heal. And that's huge. And you are saving people's lives, whether you want to look at it like that or not, you're helping them get information that they might not have.
What's going on with them, maybe letting them look at other options, right?
That's right.
So
that's right.
So thank you so much, and thank you for allowing me to share my story. And you know what? Thank you for your energy that you're putting in this podcast to help so many others, because everybody's searching.
Yes.
No matter what's going on, people are typically searching for what's the right answer for them. So thank you.
Yeah, I've been left here for a reason, and this is one of them. So I'm glad to be able to do it.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.